Have you ever wondered what secrets lie behind a smile that hides pain? In a small, cozy diner, a waitress was serving customers with one hand, because the other was broken. No one noticed, no one cared, until an undercover owner walked in. What he discovered that night would not only change her life but also remind us all that kindness still exists. Stay with me till the end, because this story will touch your heart, and if you believe in the power of goodness, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Goodness Corner for more inspiring stories. It was a rainy Thursday evening, the kind that makes neon signs glow a little brighter against wet streets and pushes people into diners for warmth. At the corner of Maple Street stood Harper's Diner, a small, unassuming place that had been around for decades. Its reputation had slipped over the years, but the food still had heart. The regular customers came for the comfort, not the shine. That evening, a man walked in quietly, dressed in simple jeans, a jacket, and a baseball cap pulled low. To everyone else, he looked like a weary traveler stopping for coffee, but in reality, he was the owner of the diner, James Harper. He had inherited the place from his father but had spent years expanding his restaurant empire in the city. Recently, he had heard whispers about poor service and low morale in the diner, so he came undercover to see for himself. He never expected what he was about to discover. James slid into a booth at the far corner, choosing the seat where he could see most of the dining floor without being too noticeable. The diner was half full, the hum of conversations mixing with the clatter of dishes. But one figure instantly drew his attention, a young waitress with a faint limp in her step and her left hand wrapped in an old bandage. She balanced trays awkwardly with her right hand, trying not to drop them. Every time she winced in pain, she quickly forced a smile, as if she couldn't allow herself to show weakness in front of customers. "Evening, what can I get you?" she asked softly when she reached James's booth. Her name tag read Emily. Her voice was kind but carried a tiredness, as though she'd been holding her world together with thin strings for far too long. James noticed her swollen knuckles and the way she kept adjusting the tray against her body to ease the weight. He frowned but kept his curiosity hidden. "A coffee and whatever your best dinner special is," he replied casually. Emily nodded, scribbled the order with her good hand, and walked away. James's eyes followed her as she moved from table to table, never stopping, never asking for help. Other staff members seemed indifferent, chatting by the counter while Emily carried most of the load. James sipped his coffee when it arrived, pretending to read the old menu, but inside, questions were piling up. Why was she working with an injured hand? Why wasn't anyone helping her? He decided to test something. When Emily returned to check on him, he asked, "Looks busy tonight. You doing all this alone?" Her smile faltered for just a second before she replied, "We manage. It's part of the job." Something in the way she said "we manage" struck James deeply. It wasn't just her hand that was broken, something in her life seemed fragile, like she was pushing through storms that no one else could see. As the night went on, James overheard small pieces of conversation from nearby tables. A couple of customers whispered about how Emily had been working double shifts lately. One man mentioned that she never took breaks. Another sighed and said, "Poor girl, she's here even when she shouldn't be. Don't know what's keeping her going." By the time James finished his meal, he was no longer just observing as an undercover owner, he was invested. He waited until most of the crowd thinned and then called Emily over for the check. When she placed the bill on the table, James gently said, "If you don't mind me asking, why are you working with a broken hand?" For the first time all evening, Emily's mask cracked. She looked down, her shoulders tightening. "Because rent doesn't wait," she whispered. Then, realizing she had said too much to a stranger, she quickly added, "Sorry, that was unprofessional. I'll get your change." James stopped her with a calm voice. "No need for change. Keep it." He left a generous tip, slid out of the booth, and left the diner quietly. But his mind was anything but quiet. Something inside told him this wasn't just about a waitress with an injury, there was a bigger story. He couldn't shake the image of her forcing a smile through pain. That night, as he drove away, he knew he had to return. He wasn't just an owner checking on his staff anymore, he was a man who had stumbled upon a hidden struggle that demanded to be uncovered. The next evening, James came back, sitting at the same booth. Emily was there again, still working, still smiling through the pain. He ordered the same coffee, this time striking up a conversation when she came by. "Long shift again?" he asked gently. She nodded. "Double today. But it's fine. Customers need me. Do you ever rest?" Emily chuckled faintly, as though the idea was foreign. "Rest doesn't pay bills." James studied her carefully, but she didn't give more away. She was cautious, guarded, like someone who had been disappointed too many times to share her truth easily. But then something happened that broke the careful walls she had built. A heavy tray slipped from her one-handed grip, crashing to the floor. Dishes shattered, customers turned, and Emily froze, embarrassed. One of the other waiters sighed loudly, muttering, "Useless." James stood immediately, his instincts sharper than his disguise. He walked over, bent down, and helped her pick up the broken pieces. When their eyes met, he saw tears she was trying desperately to hold back. "It's okay," he whispered so only she could hear. "Accidents happen." Emily quickly composed herself and continued working, but James felt something heavy settle in his heart. This was more than just physical injury. It was loneliness, exhaustion, and a burden she carried all on her own. Later that night, James lingered after the diner closed. He waited in his booth until Emily came out, wiping tables with her good hand, clearly struggling but determined. Finally, he spoke up again, his voice low but firm. "Emily, no one should have to work like this. Please, tell me why you're doing it." She froze, looking at him with wary eyes. Silence stretched between them until finally, with a trembling voice, she said, "Because if I don't, I'll lose everything. My little brother, our home, the only thing left of our parents. I can't stop. I can't afford to." Her words broke into a whisper, her eyes filling with tears she tried to blink away. In that moment, James felt his chest tighten. The undercover mission he thought was about business had just turned into something deeply personal. Emily wasn't just a waitress, she was a fighter hiding her battles in plain sight. And what James was about to discover about her life would shock him in ways he never imagined. Before we go into the heart of her story, I want to pause here. If you believe that stories like Emily's deserve to be heard, if you believe in the power of kindness to change lives, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Goodness Corner, so you never miss another story that could inspire hope. Because Emily's truth is just beginning to unfold, and what comes next will leave you speechless. James sat in silence, letting Emily's words hang in the air. He hadn't expected such honesty, and it cut deeper than he imagined. A girl barely in her 20s, carrying responsibilities most adults would crumble under. He leaned forward, his voice calm but firm. "Emily, you don't have to carry this alone. Tell me about your brother." Her eyes softened, but her guard stayed up. "He's 14. Bright, but he hasn't been the same since our parents died. I promised them I'd take care of him. Rent, school, food, it all falls on me. If I stop working, even for a day, we could lose the apartment. He deserves better, but this is all I can do." She tried to smile, but it faltered, replaced by exhaustion. James felt his throat tighten. This wasn't just about a broken hand, it was about a broken system, a girl who had sacrificed her youth to protect the only family she had left. He looked around the diner, his diner, and felt shame that no one had stepped in to help her. Taking a deep breath, James finally revealed the truth. "Emily. I need to tell you something. I'm not just a customer. I'm James Harper. I own this place." Her eyes widened in shock. She took a step back, almost dropping her notepad. You own the diner?" "Yes, James said gently. And I've been watching you. Not to judge, but to understand. And now I do. You've been carrying the weight of the world, and I won't let you do it alone anymore. Tears welled in her eyes, spilling despite her attempts to hold them back. I don't want pity, she whispered. I just want a chance. James smiled, his tone steady. And that's exactly what I'll give you. Starting tomorrow, you're not just a waitress. You'll be a trainee manager here, with better pay and fewer hours. I'll also cover your medical bills so your hand can heal. And if your brother needs tutoring or guidance, I'll make sure he gets it. This place should feel like family, and family takes care of each other. Emily covered her mouth with her good hand, sobbing quietly. No one had ever stepped in for her before. For the first time in years, the crushing weight on her chest began to lift. She whispered through her tears, "You have no idea what this means to me." James nodded softly. "Actually, I think I do. Sometimes, we all need someone to remind us we're not alone." That night, as Emily locked up the diner, she didn't feel broken anymore. She felt seen, valued, and finally hopeful. James walked out into the cool night air, knowing his undercover visit had led him to something far greater than business. It had led him to an act of kindness that would change 2 lives forever. And to everyone watching, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Goodness Corner. Because kindness doesn't just heal others, it heals the world.